In a world of economic uncertainty, the question isn't whether change will come, but whether your business is ready to thrive through it. Now, today we're diving into the strategies that can turn uncertainty into opportunity so you can stay steady, resilient, and one step ahead no matter what challenges come your way. Welcome back, my fellow entrepreneurs. It's another exciting episode of Small Business Big AI. I'm Kim, your guide as we navigate the future of business in the AI era. Now, this podcast is crafted for passionate business owners like you, those driven to scale, innovate, and build a sustainable future. Now, together, we'll discuss AI-driven solutions, share practical strategies, and reveal how small businesses like yours can become true technology-enabled superpowers. So let's dive right in. Now, if you tuned in last week, you'll remember that Hal and I talked about how to leverage multimodal AI at the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show. Now, we covered how to handle the data you gathered to enhance customer experiences. And if you missed it, hey, no worries. You can catch up right after this episode. Just ask your smart speaker to play the Small Business Big AI podcast. It's simply that easy. Now, the weather and energy at the boat show were so perfect that I have to admit, I'm still feeling that ocean breeze. But today we're setting sail into some much choppier waters, aren't we? Now, these last few months have felt like one curveball after another for small business owners. Inflation is high, costs are up, and the latest election results left us with a divided government, setting the stage for gridlocks that can make small business planning a little, dicey. Now, maybe you're feeling a bit like one of those boat captains at the show, navigating these unpredictable seas. Now, as a small business owner, you're watching every single dollar, rethinking how to manage your cash flow, and keeping a close eye on the horizon for the next policy change or economic wave to come crashing over you. That's where Small Business Big AI comes in. So today we're here to talk about steering that ship and keeping it steady no matter how strong the winds of change blow. And to better explain what I'm talking about, let's bring in two very different captains of their own ship. Now, I'll call them Dana and Rob. So let's imagine Dana runs a design studio, and let's say she's the belt and suspenders entrepreneur with her accountant's number on speed dial. Now, she's the type of business owner who keeps a very close watch on every single detail. Now, let's imagine Rob. He owns a boutique coffee shop. Now, unlike Dana, he prefers a more, let's call it freestyle approach to business finances, more casual. He likes to keep things flexible and avoids looking at the numbers for as long as he possibly can. Now, Dana is a little worried about all the headlines she's been seeing, so she's already thinking ahead, adjusting her cash reserves and checking for updates on tax credits that she can take advantage of. While Rob, well, he's still hoping his accountant doesn't call him back too soon. He says it makes things easier if he can just avoid bad news. So throughout this episode, we'll check in on how Dana and Rob are handling the choppy waters of a divided economy and give you practical steps to ensure you're not just riding out the storm, but actually steering confidently through it. It's all about having a plan, a toolkit that keeps your business adaptable, resilient, and maybe even a little optimistic in the face of unpredictability. So, from assessing your financial health and diversifying revenue streams to embracing technology that can help lighten your load, we'll explore a whole list of strategies today. And as always, we'll keep it light, we'll keep it real, and maybe even give you a laugh or two. So, if you're ready to set sail, grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and get ready to take some notes. It's time to take control of your finances and steer your business toward a brighter, more stable future. Let's get into it. All right, let's jump into our first big topic. That's assessing the financial health of your business. Now, I know reviewing numbers can sometimes feel about as fun as getting a root canal, but trust me, as a small business owner, this is one checkup that you don't want to skip. Now, imagine this. You're running your business, things are going smoothly, and then bam, inflation throws a curveball. Or maybe new tax laws hit you out of nowhere. Now, suddenly, those carefully laid financial plans don't feel as stable anymore. But hey, that's the entrepreneurial life, right? A roller coaster of thrills and occasional spills. But here's the thing, we don't have to let those financial bumps throw us completely off track. So let's bring back our two business owners, Dana and Rob, to show how different approaches can play out. Now, Dana, as you might remember, is the planner. She runs a small design studio, and every quarter, just like clockwork, she meets with her accountant to review her financials and check in on any tax policy changes that might impact her business. Now, Dana's got this routine down to an art. Actually, she calls it her financial pulse check. And I think that's a great way to put it. But just like you'd get a regular checkup at the doctor, Dana checks her business's financial health to make sure that she catches any issues before they turn into big problems. On the other hand, we have Rob, our coffee shop owner, who, as you recall from the intro, takes more of a freestyle approach. Now, Rob prefers to check his books as little as possible and often avoids his accountant's calls, telling himself, that no news is good news. It's his way of keeping the stress low, or so he thinks. But we all know that sooner or later, those numbers are going to call you back, and it's usually at the least convenient time. So, what can we learn from Dana and Rob's contrasting styles? Well, the first takeaway is this. Understanding your financial health isn't just about keeping track of profits and losses. It's about staying agile and ready to adapt. With rising costs and the potential for changes in tax policies, staying on top of your financials is like a boat captain checking the weather before setting out to sea. You're making sure that you're prepared whatever comes your way. Now, let's talk about a few practical steps that you can take to keep that financial pulse strong, starting with tax planning. So, first, keep an eye on tax law changes. Now, I know it sounds like something you'd want to skip, but even a small adjustment to the tax code could have a big impact on your bottom line. For example, there might be changes to business tax credits, deductions, or even payroll tax structures. Like Dana, consider getting in touch with a tax professional every few months. Think of them as your financial weatherman, someone who can let you know when a storm might be brewing and really help you adjust your sales accordingly. The next step you can take to keep that financial pulse strong is building cash reserves. This one's simple but powerful. Now, as you know, government stimulus and support programs have fluctuated quite a bit over the past few years. Having a little extra cash stashed away can act as your emergency lifeboat if unexpected expenses or policy-driven costs come up. Now, Dana, for instance, has built up a reserve fund that's about 3 months worth of her expenses. So it helps her sleep a little better at night, knowing that she's got this cushion to fall back on. Meanwhile, Rob, well, he says his emergency fund is his coffee beans. He might need a little extra nudge on this one. Now, step three to keep that financial pulse strong is to monitor your cash flow regularly. Now, I know this one sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised at how many business owners lose track of their cash flow. Now, make it a habit, like Dana, to check your inflows and outflows at least once a week. This way, you'll spot any red flags early and adjust as needed. Picture this as keeping the ship's compass calibrated. Even if you're a little off, that can sometimes lead to big problems down the line. And finally, step four to keep your financial pulse strong is to keep your expenses lean and mean. Now, this isn't just about cutting costs, it's about smart spending. So ask yourself, is this expense bringing value back to my business? Now, Dana, for example, recently reviewed her software subscriptions and realized she was paying for 3 different graphic design tools when she only needed one. Now, after making a few cuts, she freed up some cash that she could invest elsewhere, like marketing. So, Rob, on the other hand, likes to keep every shiny new coffee gadget in his shop. Hey, nothing wrong with a nice espresso machine collection, but maybe one or two fewer wouldn't hurt, right? So, keep your expenses lean and mean. So now at the end of the day, financial health isn't really about knowing every tiny detail, but it is about keeping an eye on the big picture and having a plan. So think of your financial health like the hull of your boat. It's what keeps you afloat. Now, by regularly checking in and keeping some cash aside and planning ahead, you're setting yourself up for smoother sailing even when the waves are high and rough. And hey, even if Dana's structured approach feels like a bit too much for you, you can just take small steps. Start by checking in with your accountant or setting up a basic cash reserve. And before you know it, you'll be steering your finances like a pro, just like Dana, or maybe somewhere in between her and Rob. Now let's take a quick breather here. If you're enjoying the episode and picking up some valuable insights, make sure to subscribe to Small Business Big AI on your favorite podcast app so you never miss out on future conversations. And hey, if you know someone who could use this information, go ahead and share it with them too. All right, so let's talk about something that might be one of the most powerful tools you can have in uncertain times, and that's diversifying your revenue streams. Now, I know it might sound like I'm suggesting you add even more to your plate, but hear me out. Diversifying doesn't have to mean doubling your workload. It's more about creating a safety net for your business. So if one area takes a hit, you've got another one bringing in some income, keeping the cash flowing, a financial safety net. It's like having a side hustle that complements your main gig, except it's all under your business umbrella. Now, let's explore some practical ways to diversify. So, we'll bring back our two entrepreneurial friends, Dana and Rob, to show how different approaches can play out. Now, Dana, our design studio owner, recently added an online course for small business branding. So, she noticed that her client work would slow down during certain seasons. So, she thought, why not teach people how to create a strong brand on their own? Now she has an additional stream of income, which makes those slow months less stressful and, dare I say, almost relaxing. Rob, on the other hand, well, Rob's coffee shop is actually bustling most of the time, so he hasn't really felt the pressure to add a new revenue stream. But last year, during the holidays, a big snowstorm kept everyone at home, and his shop was empty for days. Now, if you'd asked him then, he would have paid good money to have an online store where people could buy his coffee beans or gift cards while they were stuck inside. So let's just say Rob learned the hard way that putting all your eggs in one basket, or in this case, all his coffee beans in one grinder, might not be the best idea. So, what does diversifying revenue actually look like? Well, let's discuss some practical strategies you can start exploring. So, first, consider subscription or membership models. Now, if there's something in your business that people come back for again and again, why not consider a subscription? Let's take Dana's branding studio as an example. In addition to her course, she could offer a monthly membership for exclusive design tips, templates, or even group coaching sessions. Now, think of it like turning her expertise into a recurring income stream, something her clients would value as they build their own brands. Or for Rob's coffee shop, a monthly coffee subscription could be a big hit. Imagine sending out a brew of the month to his loyal customers. Even if there's a snowstorm or a hiccup in his in-store sales, that subscription revenue is still coming in. Plus, who doesn't love getting a fresh bag of coffee in the mail? I think about Amazon's subscription model. To be honest, I'm like the little chewy dog. I get excited when the mailman drops off my coffee each month. Crazy, right? Now, another strategy you can start exploring to diversify revenue is to sell digital products or online services. Now, in this digital age, people love the convenience of learning and purchasing from the comfort of their homes. Dana's online branding course is a perfect example of this. Not only is it low cost to produce, but it also allows her to reach customers she'd never ever see in her studio. So now she's selling to people across the country or even the world while sipping her own coffee from the comfort of her home. Hey, maybe she's like the little chewy dog too. And then there's Rob. Now, Rob could do something similar, like offering a coffee brewing workshop or even an online guide to making the perfect pour over. With digital products, you can scale without needing a bigger shop or more hours in a day. It's like your business gets a life of its own. And here's the bonus. Recurring revenue models are like the gift that keeps giving. They provide a predictable income stream and help you build long-term relationships with your customers. Another strategy you can start exploring to diversify revenue is to leverage local partnerships. Sometimes the best revenue boost comes from teaming up with a complementary business. So Dana recently partnered with a local printing company to offer branded stationery sets, and both businesses split the profits. It's a win-win. The printing company gets more visibility, and Dana has a new revenue stream without having to invest in additional equipment or staff. Now for Rob, a partnership might mean teaming up with maybe a local bakery to sell his beans alongside their pastries, or even having a coffee and pastry bundle for sale online. Now, these kinds of partnerships can bring in new customers and build a more resilient revenue base without a lot of heavy lifting. So the final strategy I'll mention today is to focus on local supply chains. Now, with trade policies shifting, it can sometimes be risky to depend too heavily on international imports. So Dana, for instance, decided to source her materials from local vendors, which allows her to focus on new revenue streams that rely on domestic supplies rather than hoping her shipment from overseas arrive on time. Now, Rob, as a coffee shop owner, might not have much choice but to source beans internationally. But there are other areas where he could lean local. Maybe his merchandise, like coffee mugs or tote bags, could come from a local artisan, making his brand even more community centered and dependable. The key here is to think of revenue streams like ropes in a safety net. The more ropes, the more secure the net. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds great, but where do I find the time to add a whole new service or product? And you're absolutely right. Diversifying doesn't mean overwhelming yourself. It's about choosing one or two options that fit naturally into what you're already doing so they don't feel like a massive leap. Think outside the box and don't be afraid to experiment. Remember, the goal is to create a more resilient business that can weather any storm. And hey, even if you're not quite ready to dive into something new, just start brainstorming ideas. What's one thing your customers often ask for that you don't already provide? Or what's a simple way you could package up your existing skills or products into something new? Like Dana and Rob, a small tweak today could become your next reliable revenue stream tomorrow. So take a look at your current offerings and see where you can add some variety. You just might be surprised at the opportunities you uncover. All right, now that we've explored the importance of diversifying revenue, let's talk tech. Now, one of my favorite topics and the reason for this podcast. In today's world, technology and automation are not just buzzwords, they're lifesavers for small businesses. And before you think, oh no, she's trying to turn my business into a sci fi operation, I'm not. This is about using practical, affordable tools to help lighten your load, save time, and make your business run a bit smoother. Navigate economic uncertainty so you thrive, not just survive. So let's check back in with Dana and Rob. Now, Dana, our design studio owner, recently decided to dip her toes into automation. She was spending hours every month scheduling client meetings, sending out reminders, and following up on invoices. Not the most thrilling work, right? So Dana started using a scheduling app that automatically sets up her client appointments and even sends gentle reminders the day before. She also added an invoicing app that tracks payments and sends payment reminders to clients. And now, instead of juggling all that admin herself, Dana's got more time to focus on her creative work, the part of her business that actually lights her up. And then we have Rob, who's a bit, let's say, hesitant when it comes to technology. Now, he once tried to set up an automated inventory system for his coffee shop, but after a few failed attempts, he gave up and went back to his trusted clipboard and pen. But here's the thing, as his coffee shop gets busier, Rob is finding it harder to keep track of his stock. Just last month, he ran out of his best-selling beans during a busy weekend because he hadn't realized his stock was low. Now, Rob's realizing that maybe, just maybe, a little automation could help him stay on top of things without all the stress. So what can we learn from Dana's willingness to experiment and Rob's hesitation? The big takeaway is that automation doesn't have to be a massive overhaul of your business. Start with the areas that feel repetitive or time consuming. Think of it like hiring an assistant who never needs a lunch break or a day off. Here are a few ways you can lean into technology and automation without feeling overwhelmed. First, automate customer service with AI chatbots. That feeling when you're finally sitting down with that cup of coffee and ding, a customer inquiry pops up. Well, it's tempting to ignore it, but quick responses keep customers happy. So that's where chatbots come in. Now, picture this: a virtual assistant that answers those FAQs, helps customers place orders, and even handles basic support, all without you having to step in. And for those of you who are worried about losing that personal touch, well, the good news is many chatbots today can be customized to match your brand's tone and personality. It's like having a 24/7 customer service rep that speaks in your voice. Now, Dana hasn't implemented a chatbot yet, but she's seriously considering it for those late night design inquiries that come through her website. Now, Rob, on the other hand, might still need a little convincing, but let's be honest, if he could free up time to focus on his customers in the cafe, he'd see the benefits pretty quickly. Now, another way you can lean into technology and automation without feeling overwhelmed is by using AI for inventory management. Now, keeping track of inventory manually can be exhausting and error prone, especially if you have a lot of products. Now, many affordable apps can sync with your point of sale system to track your stock levels, send alerts when you're running low, and even reorder items automatically. And for those of you who have seasonal items or specific bestsellers, you can use data from these systems to understand which items move fastest at certain times of the year. Now, Dana, for instance, uses her system to track which products in her online store are most popular, and then she adjusts her stock levels accordingly to make sure that she's never caught off guard. Another way to lean in is by embracing AI for scenario analysis. Now, this one is especially useful in our uncertain economic times. So, AI can help you run different what if scenarios. Like what if supply costs go up by 10% next quarter? Or how would a dip in customer spending impact my revenue? So AI powered tools can simulate different outcomes, and that way you can make more informed decisions and plan for, a wider range of possibilities. Now, for Dana, scenario analysis has become a sort of safety net for her. She uses AI to forecast her financials, which then helps her set more accurate budgets and anticipate seasonal slowdowns. Now, Rob might roll his eyes at this level of planning, but he's coming around to the idea that it's better to be prepared than caught off guard. So, the final example I'll give you for leaning into technology and automation is by leveraging automation in marketing. So, if you're spending hours every week scheduling social media posts, creating email campaigns, or analyzing your online engagement, marketing automation tools can save you a ton of time. Now, imagine having all your social posts scheduled for the month, emails ready to go out automatically, and engagement data that helps you tweak your strategy without getting lost in the weeds. Now, there are plenty of tools out there: Buffer, Hootsuite, MailChimp. These make this easy and affordable for small businesses. So Dana recently started using a social media automation tool that schedules her posts at the time her audience is most active. Now, this way, she's engaged with her followers without needing to be online 24/7. And for Rob, well, he's warming up to the idea of a newsletter that automatically sends coffee recipes to his loyal customers. Who knew you could get repeat customers and save time in the process, right? So here's the bottom line: technology and automation aren't here to replace you, they're here to empower you. Now, by automating the repetitive, time consuming tasks, you're freeing yourself up to do the things that only you can do: the strategic thinking, the creative problem solving, the relationship building that drives your business forward. And remember, you don't have to adopt every piece of tech overnight. Like I always say, start small, experiment, and find what works best for you. Who knows? You might even start enjoying the extra time automation brings. So, whether you're a Dana ready to dive into all the tools or a Rob just starting to dip a toe in, there's an automation solution out there that can help make your business more resilient and scalable. Ready to take your small business to superhuman levels with AI? Well, subscribe to Small Business Big AI and start building your technology-enabled superpower today. Now, let's quickly talk about the power of relationships, something that's at the heart of every successful small business. Because in the business world, it's not just about what you know, it's about who you know. Think of it like this: when the economic seas get rough, your strong relationships with customers and suppliers are the anchors that keep you from drifting off course. So let's bring Dana and Rob back to help illustrate the power of these relationships. Dana, who you'll remember owns a design studio, recently decided to team up with the local printer to offer customer branded stationery to her clients. It was a natural fit. They each had something valuable to offer, and by working together, they could both reach new customers. It's a win-win. Now, instead of just selling design services, Dana can offer complete branding packages with custom materials, and this has made her studio even more appealing to her clients. And then there's Rob, who's built a fantastic relationship with his local coffee roasters. Every month they work together to select a coffee of the month for his shop. Now, it's become a hit with his customers because they know they're getting something fresh, local, and unique. But these relationships didn't happen overnight. Rob has spent years building that trust by simply showing up, paying on time, and, of course, serving his suppliers some really great coffee when they come by for a chat. So, how can you build these kind of rock solid relationships? Well, here are a few tips. First, strengthen supplier relationships with long term contracts. So, if you're relying on a certain product or material that could be affected by trade policies or supply chain issues, consider locking in a long term contract like Dana does with her printing partner. Now, this way, you secure a steady supply at a predictable cost. Now, long term agreements can offer stability and help you avoid sudden price hacks or shortages. Plus, your supplier will appreciate the commitment and may even prioritize your orders during busy times. Now, next, show appreciation to your suppliers. Relationships aren't just about transactions, they're about trust and goodwill. So take the time to thank your suppliers, highlight their work, or even feature them on your social media. Now, this simple gesture can go a long way in solidifying your partnership. Now, Dana gives her partner a shout out on social media, while Rob always has a fresh pot of coffee brewing for his suppliers when they visit. Another way to build these rock solid relationships is to be transparent with your customers. Now, keep customers informed, especially during delays or disruptions. So, Dana proactively emails clients about any delays, and Rob posts updates in his cafe, building trust through open communication. Now, customers appreciate honesty, especially if you keep them in the loop. Another way is to create customer loyalty programs. Now, reward your loyal customers with programs that show your appreciation and encourage your repeat business. So, Dana offers returning clients a discount, and Rob has a classic punch card system for free coffee. Now, the beauty of loyalty programs is that they don't just reward customers, they show them that you appreciate their support. And as a bonus, loyal customers are more forgiven if a small hiccup does happen. They know you value their business and will work to make it right. Now, finally, a tip for building these rock solid relationships is to leverage technology for better communication. With so many digital tools available, staying connected with customers and suppliers has really never been easier. Now, Dana uses a CRM to stay organized, and Rob uses automated text to confirm deliveries. So, in the end, strong relationships are your safety net in uncertain times. They build a community invested in your success, making business not just resilient, but more enjoyable too. So, nurture those connections and really watch your business thrive. Now, all right, my fellow entrepreneurs, we've covered a lot of ground today. From assessing your financial health to diversifying your revenue, leaning into technology and building strong relationships. These are the kinds of strategies that can keep your business steady, resilient, and yes, even thriving in unpredictable times. So let's do a quick recap and break it down into some simple action steps because, as we all know, knowing what to do is great, but taking action, that's where the true magic happens. So first, assess your financial health. Start by getting a clear picture of your finances. Even if it's just a monthly check-in, make sure you know what's coming in and what's going out. And if you're not sure where to start, consider reaching out to a financial advisor or even a trusted accountant who can help you stay on track. Next, consider diversifying your revenue streams. Think about one way you can add a new revenue stream that aligns with your current offerings. Now, it doesn't have to be a major change. Maybe it's a subscription model, an online service, or a simple partnership. Just one small addition can make a big difference in your overall resilience. And also, my favorite, lean into technology and automation. Identify one repetitive task that you can automate. Now, whether it's scheduling social media posts or managing customer inquiries or even tracking inventory, there's likely a tool out there that can save you time and a whole lot of stress. Now, take it one step at a time. Small tech adjustments can lead to big efficiencies. And finally, strengthen relationships with customers and suppliers. Building and maintaining strong relationships is about more than transactions. It's about trust, goodwill, and mutual support. So consider setting up a loyalty program for your customers or reaching out to your suppliers to explore ways you can support each other. Now, in times of uncertainty, having reliable partners is invaluable. Now, that's it for today's episode of Small Business Big AI. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope with these strategies, you're feeling better prepared to navigate a divided economy. If this year has taught us anything, it's that flexibility can make or break a small business. Now, when things are unpredictable, being able to adapt is like having a hidden superpower. You can pivot or do the weave. You can adjust and keep moving forward no matter what happens, no matter what life throws your way. Now, if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, don't worry. You don't have to do all of this at once. Just pick one or two of these strategies to start with and build from there. Running a business is a marathon, not a sprint, and resilience comes from consistent, steady progress. Even in times of uncertainty, your business is your creation. It's something you've built, nurtured, and grown. And the fact that you're here learning new ways to make it stronger shows just how dedicated you are to your success. And that's what this podcast is all about, supporting you as you turn your small business into a technology-enabled superpower, ready to face whatever the future holds. Now, if you found today's episode helpful, I'd love for you to take a moment to subscribe and leave a review. And remember, you can always catch up on past episodes if you missed anything. Just ask your smart speaker to play the Small Business Big AI podcast, and you're all set. Also, share this episode with a fellow entrepreneur or friend who needs a little AI magic in their life. Plus, if you've got a story about how AI has helped you navigate rough seas or an uncertain economy, I'd love to hear about it. Reach out. My contact information is in the show notes, and maybe your story will inspire a future episode. So until next time, stay flexible, stay inspired, and keep building a business that's as resilient as you are, because the future of your business is bigger than you think. And the steps you take today will shape the legacy you build tomorrow. Now, I'm Kim, and this has been Small Business Big AI. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you in the next episode.